Good evening. I really want to be brief because I would love our activists to have the most time possible. So Riki, if you could come forward, please. Riki Wilchins is EPIP's Activist Award recipient. Riki is an activist whose work focuses on the impact of gender norms. Riki is an example of a person that proves #emerging never stops when you are fighting to create a world where everyone matters. Activists like Riki remind us that it's important to recognize everyone's inner humanity, to stop, to recognize it might be important to see what gender pronoun someone would like to be referred to as, to stop and take notice of the plight that boys and men of color are going through as they try to navigate the world and are in the school-to-prison pipeline. To not forget expectations and gender norms that are placed on young girls of color and all girls might stymie the way they show up in the world. So activists like Riki let us know that emerging never stops as long as you're pushing yourself to have new understandings of the world and taking chances to see people's inner humanity. Riki?
Wow. I'm not used to getting awards. For some perverse reason, I've decided to dedicate most of my work to breaking new ideas into the mainstream, which means I'm much more used to having doors slammed in my face and having people say, I don't get it, than to being honored. So I told Rahsaan I didn't know what to do with this, and he said, just breathe it in and be with it. I'm not a breathe it in, be with it kind of person. But gosh, you know, about 15 years ago, a group of us got together and decided that it was time to bring the idea of gender identity and expression to at least the gay funders and hopefully some of the mainstream funders. And it took us almost 15 years to do that with an organization some of you might remember called Gender PAC. And after 15 years, it was successful, and it was doing so well, we decided to kill it and walk away from it. And it was Rahsaan Harris at Ford, who's just brilliant. I'm sorry Lauren couldn't make it tonight, but Lauren said, you know, don't you want to do this work around gender with young black men and boys? And that grant just ate the organization. I think it took us 15 years to get it across to people that boys and girls who don't fit into narrow ideals of gender often grow up in a world of pain. This flipped the whole model on its head and said, you know, even boys and girls who do conform to these rigid ideals of masculinity and femininity, even the ones who do conform face markedly, often measurably lower life outcomes. Is there an applause back there? I don't know what to do with this. So I'm on a roll here. I'll keep going. So there's about 20 or 30 years of research that backs that up. So you think it'd be pretty uncontroversial. Most of us already know this in our bones because we made it through junior high school. But for some reason, when it comes to mainstream philanthropy, gender either gets written off as a gender identity thing that only affects transgender people, or it gets kind of compartmentalized. Oh, it's a women and girls program, and it keeps getting broken off from race and class. And as my friend Kimberly Crenshaw would say, if you want to do intersectional work and talk about where people really live their lives, people do not live their lives on the straightaways of identity where life is simple and uncomplicated. We make our lives, we build our families at the intersections where life is difficult and complex, and we are gay, and we are of color, and we are this, and that's where people actually live. And the idea behind doing gender transformative work is to reconnect race and class and gender in a way that infuses our philanthropy and allows us to do critical thinking that brings these things out of the silos so that we can think about things together. You know, I forget who it was who said, you know, racial stereotypes are always gendered, and gender stereotypes are always race. You can't pull them apart, and when you do, you miss things. You know, Clint Eastwood 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Bruce Lee. These are all specifically race and gendered portrayals of masculinity. And when you try to pull it apart, you miss things. So I want to kind of close just by thanking a few people who have kind of helped me hold up and support this work. And for this, I need a list. Thank God for phones. I do want to thank Lauren, and of course, Alvin Starks, who also isn't here. My board member, Kimberly Otis, who's here, who used to run Women in Philanthropy, who's just been brilliant in helping me navigate the minefields of philanthropy. Of course, my partner, Gina Reese, who's down there. Darren Walker, of course, you know, Rahsaan, and Beverly Guy-Sheftel from Spelman, who is just luminous and is on my board, and I learn from her every day. Beatrice Solis at Calendau, who gave us one of our first grants in this area, and the wonderful Carmen Anderson at Heinz, who's now helping fund our work with young black women and girls around gender norms, femininity, health, and wellness. Just a groundbreaking thinker. And where is Michelle Ozumba from Women's Funding Network? Michelle, not worthy. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Michelle has helped hold up this work and open doors and pitched it and put her heart and soul behind it. And you know, it's great to have thought leadership on things, but you need people on the ground who have the pulse of communities and believe in you. And Michelle has been my muse and has kept me going and has just been so important, this work. So thank you. I look forward to continuing to partner on this. You guys are amazing. You do great stuff. And thank you all. Thank you all very much. And Rahsaan, thank you for this award.